So you want to take your punch card and place it into this slot, and it'll sort of like kind of nicely line up with that horizon line. Then you just push this button down and start twisting to the right, and this punch card will lock into the wheel, and then you can turn it. My punch card's pretty long, yours might be a little shorter, but you turn it so that you have enough material on both sides. Then you want to take these green snaps and place them in the last two holes on your punch card. And the key is that these two rows that are all punched out, those line up underneath the last two rows of your pattern. And then on this side, the two rows that are all punched out are on top of the last two rows of your pattern on the other side. So that'll look like this. So the goal is that your pattern is continuous. There's no break in the pattern. So once you've determined that you've lined that up correctly, the front side of your punch card is on the top and the back side of your punch card is behind, so that it moves smoothly through the machine. You take these snaps, put them through the holes. So I'm connecting the back of my punch card to the front. Snap it closed. And do the same on the other side. And then you can let it fall. And if you're looking at your pattern and you know that you want it to start at a certain location, let's say we're looking at this row here, row 3, and it's sort of like the stem of this floral that I created. If I want that to be the first row that's knitted, I need to line it up with this horizon line, and then I actually need to move it 6 rows below. So right now the knitting machine is going to read the row that is inside the machine currently. So if I want this row to be the first row that is knitted, I actually need to turn it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that row that we identified previously is inside the machine, and that is what our knitting machine, our carriage, will read when we begin to knit. So our punch card is ready. Now we want to look at our carriage. And the first step is to take this knob and turn it to KC, which stands for knit color. And we just knit 1 row. This, in that first row, engages the needles that will knit the color that is punched out, and will knit the color that is in B. So let's take our contrast color and put it, and you just slide it just like this. Slide it into the B slot. And just like when you're striping, just hold on to that color on the right hand side or the left hand side, wherever your carriage is. Now engage MC, stands for multiple color, and you can begin to knit. So any needle that's pushed forward is going to knit in your B contrast color, and that is corresponding to what is punched out on your punch card. So something to pay attention to are the edges of your knitted fabrics with the punch card. The stitches like to jump off the needles, so it's nice to just keep an eye on that and carry these weights up as you knit. A few things to talk about is these buttons right here on the right hand side of your punch card. So we've been knitting with our dial at 4. I'm not sure what the 4 stands for, but what this means is that your carriage is knitting and corresponding 1 row at a time on your punch card. The 1, if you move this dial to 1, that's going to read continuously the same row again and again. So let's look at how my needles are configured right now, and then watch what happens as I knit. They never change. So the carriage, when the dial is at 1, is knitting the same row from the punch card. So this is a fun way to start to play with vertical stripes. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And then the third option you have is this elongated triangle. And this is going to read each row of your punch card twice. So, as you knit, so these needles are punched out, reading 1 row, and they remain the same every 2 rows. So this button, this elongated triangle, elongates your pattern, your design. I often work with it just reading row per row at 4. So I'll knit a few more rows. And then take my weights off. We'll just turn the fabric, take a look.